Heads up, the war in Iran is about to rapidly escalate, and citizens in the region are asked to consider.
See, this is what I'm talking about. People said, oh, it's going to be all over. You're crazy. Oh, there's not going to be no escalation. They're signing that memorandum. You guys all said that when they were trying to sign a peace deal between the Ukraine and Russia. And I told you guys, no, it's not done. We're far from done. And I'm not trying to be here to say I told you so, but I told you so. So let's get into it. Let's see what's happening. I kind of had a funny feeling that Satan do Yahoo, when he was here, they were talking about putting boots on the ground. And I have my funny suspicion that's what's going to happen. But let me get into these cards and see what they're saying. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only, okay? I am not a journalist. I am not a political analyst. I am a person who's reading tarot cards that have good intuition and good pattern recognition, okay? So we're going to get into this and see what's doing. I don't want to fearmonger, but, you know, and this eventually will come into an end, but it's not going to come to an end tomorrow, I'm sorry to say. We're going to do, okay, let's leave it as that. Okay, so starting off with the Temperance, okay, we're talking about an imbalance. We're talking about stress. We're also talking about the relationship between us and Not So Real, okay? It's not balance, okay? Obviously, we know that. But however, I think when Dudu Yahoo, well, I'm going to call him Satan, okay? Satan Do Yahoo was here. He was trying to convince you know, our leaders that they need to go in there. And they're like, dude, we don't have any money. You know, we're broke, okay? Just like when I take my kids to the candy, like when we go to the grocery store and I only have a certain amount of money for groceries, and then my kids are trying to talk to me into buying them the candy bars at the checkout aisle. That's kind of like what is happening. Because, like, you know, my kids don't understand that I have a budget, all right? And Dudu Yahoo does not understand that there's limitations. They just think we're a constant piggy bank for them. And, you know, that's the situation right now is at play. Okay? Okay, the Ace of Chalice, okay, which is like the Ace of Cups. So I think even both people on both sides of the aisle right now in our country is slowly coming to the realization that we created a monster over there in West Asia, okay? They're realizing now, they're not going to tell you that on camera, okay, but they are coming to the realization that this is a mess, okay, and they just don't know what to do. Okay, they want to break away. They do not want to help anymore, okay? But with the nine of, you know, candles, which is like the Nine of Wands, they feel like they do have to help manage over there and Not So Real, because they feel like that's what they have to do because they're paid by certain people, okay? We got the Eight of Chalice in reverse. So a lot of people on both sides, okay, blue and red, they are not going to let down and put their foot down to Not So Real, okay? That's just a fact, all right? The Ace of Candles, okay, talking about the Ace of Wands. So new thoughts, new people coming in, okay? But right now, there's not new people coming in, okay? That's in the future. Right now, our present is that there's new thoughts going on, okay? New ideas. Okay, the Knight of Feathers in reverse, okay? So this is like the Knight of Swords in reverse. So there is going to be, you know, Velveeta in Chief is going to rush in, okay? Because, quite frankly, he does not have the intelligence or the ability to handle this situation. So he is going to rush in to a candles. So I feel like they will go forth with boots on the ground, and you can possibly see that today or tomorrow. Okay, I'm not trying to fearmonger. Okay, I'm just stating what the cards say to me. Okay, the Page of Feathers. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of news. Okay, I feel like we might see music festivals with younger people this weekend about what's going to happen. Okay, yes, Justice card in reverse. So justice is not going to happen this weekend. Okay, we're gonna see this come to fruition, unfortunately, and this might be the thing to pull Velveeta and Chief out of his spot. Okay, because it's gonna be bad. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but it's not going to turn out the best for our country. Okay, the Five of Chalice, like the five of Cups. So eventually we will get out of this, but it's going to take a while, and it's going to be after a large loss. Okay, cover up. Okay, so they will be covering up stuff. They are not reporting. I've said this over and over and over again since we began in RAN. They are not telling us the truth. Okay, they're not telling us the truth. Fraud. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that we are not seeing. Okay, party. This is mostly from this color party. Okay, not saying both people on both of the aisles don't do stuff, but right now this party's in charge. This war is on their hands. Okay, inside. Okay, so there is a lot of things going inside that we don't know about. All right, and we have to understand what you're gonna see might be scary. Okay, but you have to understand you cannot get overwhelmed. Okay, you gotta hold your peace within. All right, take care.